Yeah. Testing. Mic check. Happy Friday, family. Happy Friday, family. Miss y'all. Miss y'all always. Um, it's good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. It's been a great week. It's been growth. It's been reflection. Um, it's just been understanding more and more how to get the results that I'm looking for. And even though that may feel like I'm going against the grain or what has probably calloused in my mind to become the norm, how I'm approaching everything, it feels good. And it feels like I'm moving in the right direction. I hope that's the same for you all. The more we step back and are able to observe and really process what's going on in the world, what's going on in our lives, I feel as if we're able to make sense out of a lot of stuff that we typically or before we're just trying to knock down the wall rather than taking a step back and then looking over and realizing like, yeah, you could just walk around over there rather than just keep trying to pound a wall that doesn't seem to be breaking and will never break. Perhaps, who knows? But shout out to all y'all. Shout out to all y'all. I know we already got some of the fam in the building. Shout out to Big Bro Finn, who's always blessing us with the wise words to kick off with the high frequency energy. So the perfection of character is this: to live each day as if it were your last. The perfection of character is this: to live each day as if it were your last. The Honorable Marcus Aurelius. What would we do? What would we do if today was going to be our last day? And it's not about being upset and looking at it from a dark standpoint. It's more so about being, in my opinion, about grateful that we have a day. We have a day, and the best way to make sure that we're living life to the fullest, becoming the best version of ourselves, is to treat it as if we don't have time down the line. We have to do and live in the now. All right. So I like that, big bro. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. Simple and plain. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. This reminds me of something I was thinking about in the car yesterday. I heard somebody say that it's a lot of effort and energy raising kids. And 100%, 100%, I agree. But then I was having this other thought where it's almost as if when you have kids, when you have purpose, when you have other things that you're living for, it makes you like it almost gasses you up. It's like recycling certain energy where, you see certain people that are purposeful and are really like bought into something or feel like they're really doing something for their family. And you wonder, like, how could you get the energy to do certain things? And it's like, yo, I got mouths to feed. I got a family. I got kids. You're able to figure out a way to get more done compared to society now, which we talk about from time to time as far as people not having kids as much. It's almost like with all the anxiety, all the depression that I'm talking to certain friends, we're all dealing with it. It's like it's in the air. It's just something that's very heavy weighing on us. And it almost feels like without the kids, it's almost harder to, you know what I mean? And obviously, raising kids, I don't know, but I can sit back and look, and it seems like a lot of energy. But I think there's also a component to it where you also have a lot of energy that you're fed by having these type of purposeful attachments compared to us just being stressed out over I can't have kids, I can't afford them, I'm trying to afford a house, can't afford a house, I'm trying to have a nice car, a cost of living is going up, they're telling us that we're going to be in this war, it's going to impact this, impact that, we hate each other because you're on that side of the political fence and I'm on this side of the political fence. It's like all this stuff seems a lot draining. Let me maybe frame it like that. Yeah, it takes a lot of energy raising the kids, but living in this current society, I find it hard to believe that something has been as draining. Maybe that's just because we're able to consume more information. And we're going to kind of talk about that and how that impacts us. But that's just some of the thoughts that I was having. But good actions give strength to ourselves. I believe that. Think about when we do a good deed for somebody else. It feels rewarding for you. It feels damn near maybe more rewarding for you to do the good deed for the other person to you than it even does to them, or it feels better doing it, helping somebody else out than maybe helping our own selves out. But to each their own. To each their own. Shout out to Bubbles in the building. Blessed morning, everyone. Definitely, Bubbles. Good to see you here bright and early on that West Coast. Shout out to Big Bro Steve in the building. It's a great day to be alive. Yes, it is, Big Bro. Yes, it is. Finn said, Grand Rising Dak, Bubbles, and Brother Steve. The sun is flaring here in the UK. It's a scorcher, going to be a great weekend. I love that. I love that. It's Memorial Day weekend over here. So in Jersey, it's looked like it's going to be a little cold. So trying to finish, sneak out of here tomorrow, get some of that Miami weather, because it was warmer up here. It seemed like over the weekend and on Monday than in Miami. But you gotta go where the energy flows. You feel me? If Miami's got better weather, then go to Miami. You feel me? Be grateful for it. All right, what we got? What we got? Shout out to Michelle in the building. I saw Michelle. I know you got a busy day today, so appreciate you tapping in. Definitely appreciate you tapping in, and love to Kentucky as always. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Big Bro said, I think you nailed it, Dak. My kids brought out a whole other level of purpose and motivation in me. And that's it's almost like they scare us into, well, you can't have kids because of all these reasons. But then when you have kids, you actually find the motivation to do all those things that you already would have had to do. But at least now you got something purposeful around, based on it. So yeah, yeah. Those are just some of the thoughts. But like I said, it actually is going to be part of our conversation. And another thought that I was having in the car. This is the great thing about riding in the car. I don't know if it was the Drake. I don't know if it was just me being in my thoughts. Probably more just me being in my thoughts. But this is I wanted to run this by you, and we may have touched on this before, but I had a question as far as virality. Like, is our addiction to go viral? Is our addiction to feed the algorithm? Is it preventing us from collaboration? Now, let me explain what I mean. I was getting ready to make a post. It was about something when it came to doctors or politicians. I think it was specifically when it came to doctors. We were just having a conversation before that about the food that we eat, the medicine that the doctors prescribe us. In my opinion, I think doctors do drop the ball when it comes to accountability, or maybe I should say the responsibility that comes with the influence that they have in order to promote us to actually move in a more healthy direction. So in my mind, I was like, all right, I'm getting ready to make a post about this, make a video. So the video, my intent was initially to just say, like, doctors, man, y'all have failed us. Y'all have failed us. Just speaking directly, you failed us. We rely on you to be that part of society that's going to bring health to the world. And instead, when you look around at our society, it seems like we're just getting more and more unhealthy. And it seems like that's based on us being more and more, or less and less, informed with the right things that are going to lead us in a healthy direction. So it was going to be more from an energy of calling out the doctors. And it was based on this, not concept, but strategy. I even talking to my bro Chris about it, where when we're posting, and obviously you're looking to get as much engagement as possible, and in order to do so, we came across like similar videos, and just maybe noticing it in our own post, that when you post something that pisses people off, that touches their emotions, it has a higher chance of going viral. And that you have to be willing to piss people off and be the voice for people that are pissed off, and be willing to say what they're not willing to say, that's going to piss the other side of whatever that argument is off. And then you create the engagement. You'll have the engagement from the people that are pissed off giving their opinion, and you'll have the engagement from the people that are aligned with the things that you're saying. So I said, where does that lead us? If that side, who we're trying to get to be more responsible, to take more onus, to have more of overall role in leading us somewhere. And we're the pissed off side that maybe doesn't have the influence, doesn't have the accolades, the degrees that give us the ability to talk from a more a pedestal that people will listen to, that people will listen to. And if we don't have that, it's like, well, how does that come together rather than us just feuding? And it's the same thing with anything else. It's politics, right? It's, well, that side is this side is this. And obviously, we never end up collaborating and just coming together with common sense. So from this standpoint, I said, you know what? What if this is just an example of, if we had more of an approach, if I just made a video saying, like, you know what, doctors, y'all have a unique responsibility, or a unique ability. We look up to you all, we follow your directions. And based on that, we need y'all to help us. We're asking y'all to help us because, if you guys aren't pointing us in the right direction, then, we can have one offs here and there of people, random people online who may be saying stuff. But hey, doctors, call out the Food and Drug Administration. We would appreciate it. You'd be helping a lot of lives if that approach would be better. So I was just having that thought process. And that's just another example of the things that we can change within our approach in order to get more of the results that we're looking for. Everything that we typically consume as far as things going viral is built on what? It's built on the emotions of fear, pain, hate, all the low vibrational emotions, all the low vibrational emotions. And when we think about it, it's you think about the things that they teach us, the things that they promote to us, whether it's on the news, all these things, they're based on getting to our low vibrational energy. And it's because things are controlled by emotions. Going viral is controlled by emotions. Fox News trying to get as much viewership is controlled by emotions. MS Now trying to get as much views is controlled by emotions. These politicians trying to appeal to us, it's all based on emotions. And whether it's a TV show, it's based on emotions. And when you realize that the majority of the things that we consume, because we are addicted to feeling, right? The majority of the things that we consume are going to try to make us feel something. They know that based on our addiction to feel something, whether we want to feel something amazing or feel some type of emotion, we're addicted to the emotion. And they know that the easiest, most low-hanging fruit is the low vibrational energy. That's going to make us fearful. That's going to make us naive. That's going to make us angry. That's going to make us easier to hate each other, not question, not want to collaborate, not want to grow together. It's going to make us feel comfortable moving in a low vibrational energy and looking at it as a necessary evil that we just have to accept. That's what it is. When we sit back and think about the majority of the things that we consume, we've done it when we go through my YouTube algorithm, when we go through my X algorithm, when you think about the things that we're watching on TV, typically all of these things do what? Low vibrational. The only things that make us feel good that we're smiling about are typically the things that don't matter. It's watching the Knicks play. Yeah, that I feel good. I'm with the family. I'm watching the Knicks play, but none of that is really actually informing me on anything purposeful in my life. And that's where the distraction comes. So they distract us almost with all the feel good stuff. But then when it comes to the things that we place as providing necessary information to us, it's all low vibration. It's all low vibration. And this kind of, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this mirror principle, but I was watching some videos and it was discussing like the mirror principle. And just real quickly, just so I just learned it. So just I'll share it with you all. Let me actually share the screen as well. Let me share this. Give me a second. I know I'm rambling. Give me a second. Give me a second. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. All right. So the mirror principle. The mirror principle is the idea that the external world often reflects our internal state, our thoughts, beliefs, emotions, habits, and energy. In personal development and spiritual philosophy, it suggests that the way we see others, the situations we repeatedly attract, and even the emotional reactions we have can act like a mirror showing us something about ourselves. And it just yesterday, my mom and I were talking about somebody that a song played, and this is how strong emotions can be and feelings. I heard a certain song, it was "I Love Your Smile," the Shanice do 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 do. It was that song, and we were talking about. I said this reminds me of when you used to get your hair done, and I gave the name of the person that used to do her hair, and I said it just makes me think of him, and I have good thoughts about that. But then the response that well, the conversation where it went, I was like trying to figure out like, all right, how can I say this without? All right, my mom was saying that that person, and we talked about multiple people, how certain things it just seems like they have bad luck, where certain things you have good people, and it seems like for whatever reason, negative things just occur. So I was sitting there and I was thinking about the whole mirror principle because I was just learning this. And this is kind of the direction that we've been moving in when it comes to us programming our subconscious. I told y'all the other day, my homegirl Keisha at the restaurant that I always go to in Miami, she had the same approach. I think we were talking to Phyllis about it. And it's based on what we're inviting, it's based on the energy. And even the things that we've talked about as far as the consumption aspect. How do we think that we're going to consume everything that we consume on a day-to-day basis? Be addicted with all the low vibrational stuff. When we're on Instagram, pay attention to what we're giving more attention to. When we're on YouTube, pay attention to our algorithm. Pay attention to these things that we're consuming by listening to the news, the things that get us emotionally engaged. Pay attention to those things. Are they making us feel better about life or worse? Are they painting a more negative environment for us or a better one? And a lot of it's about just shifting our thoughts, shifting our mindset, understanding these type of principles that people have been talking about for a very long time, but for whatever reason, they're just not taught to us. There's no reason why we shouldn't be taught that, hey, your thoughts can impact your reality. Why would we not learn this in school? Why would we not have classes about these things? These things are literally keeping us in a place where they want to talk about mental health, right? But they only want to look at the mental health from a standpoint of, oh, you need to be more vulnerable, or so they can push you now to a therapist. So now the doctors can make more money. Okay, now they push you to therapy. Now they can prescribe you some medicine. Now they can do all these different things where they're able to profit from, and everything seems to be based on that. Everything seems to just go back to like people are trying to control and profit off of us. And we have to do a better job of understanding a lot of these laws, these principles, like the mirror principle, and understanding that regardless of whether our life is amazing or terrible, our thoughts are creating a lot of those realities. So if we're somebody that things just tend to happen bad to, we think we just have bad luck, that to me is a lazy approach to it. That's when you blame other aspects of life rather than looking internally and saying, how am I impacting this problem? How are my thoughts impacting this problem? And it doesn't necessarily have to be from a standpoint of stubbornness. A lot of times it's just people just not knowing. I don't think that a lot of these people, like my homegirl Keisha, who I'm talking to, and she's telling me that everything bad just happens in her life. I don't think that she's necessarily being stubborn. I think that in the conversation when I'm asking her about, what are you thinking about? Like, are you projecting this? I just don't think that she's ever even thought about it. I don't think that that was a thought in her mind where she's like, wait, so my thoughts impact my reality? We don't learn that. And we're just so accustomed to consuming such terrible, low vibrational things that it just becomes the norm. And because things are terrible, now we all feel like we got to have an opinion on it. So everybody's now arguing over the terrible things, compounding that energy. And then we end up in the world that we're in right now, where everything is a decision based on choosing the lesser of this evil, the lesser of that evil, the lesser of the it's been a yeah, it's been a strategy that I think the powers that be have been using for a very long time. They get us in debt, right? Now they force us to work in a certain way. Now they force us to embrace, working jobs that we can't stand. Also, we can have a couple days off on the weekend where we can semi enjoy it, but not really. Y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying. But let's get into some of the videos because I did want to review a few different videos um and move from there. Let me catch up with a couple different comments though. So Big Bro Finn said an example is you deeply admire someone's discipline or calmness. That can be a mirror. It may reflect qualities you value, suppress, or are beginning to develop. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Michelle said your emotions mirror your internal frequency. That's why I use words and emotions to determine said frequency. I like that. Your emotions mirror your internal frequency. 100%. I heard buddy of mine, well, not buddy of mine, guy that I've been watching for a pretty long time. His name is a smart guy, and he was talking to a group of kids, and he says, you know, how you feel about yourself, these thoughts, these emotions, eventually, or the feelings become emotions, and the emotions are the things that obviously are going to dictate when we talk about like energy, vibration. Emotions are a strong component to programming our subconscious. This is the same thing as far as us saying, even from the prayer standpoint or the manifesting. No, we don't hope that something's going to happen. We know that it's going to happen. We expect it to happen. And we have to have that emotion aligned with expecting it's going to happen, knowing it's going to happen. We were reviewing the Bible and the scriptures, and it was explaining how we should pray. And just to paraphrase, hopefully I'm not butchering this, but it was, you know, everything that we're asking God for, we should move in life as if we're expecting those things and not worrying, well, is God going to come through? Is God going to deliver? No, that's not how you do it. You know, you have expectations. So emotions are very important, and we can't lie to ourselves. We can't say, "Oh, I'm going to be rich," but have broke emotions and feeling like we're broke. Like we can't lie to ourselves. We can't fool ourselves. We could try to fool everybody else, but we can't fool ourselves. And if our reality, if we know that our reality is dictated by those emotions, then perhaps we should just look at that as a solution to change our reality. Where it's like, all right, maybe we just change and shift our emotions. So let me stop talking y'all heads off. Let's get into, so we got two videos. It's one is a Professor Zhang video where it's about a 10-minute video where he's talking about that we're not anxious by accident. And he's talking about a lot of the programming that we deal with in society to make us feel this way. And then we have a video from David Bayer. I've been watching a lot of his videos. Maybe let's get into decisions. We'll get into the David Bayer video first. So let me share the screen and we shall go from there. What's up, Mama Lay? What's up, Mama Lay? Oh, shoot. Hold up, Rex. Shout out to Rex James, man. I don't know if this is your first time tuning in, but definitely appreciate the super chat, man. Gratitude. And it's simple. It's simple. And this goes back to what we were talking about the scriptures with the prayer. Use gratitude. Gratitude may be one of the most powerful tools to point our emotions in the right direction. And what I mean by that is when we're praying for something, and I don't know, however you pray is how you pray, but a lot of people pray and focus on the negative things or focus on the things that they lack. Focus on, well, I don't have this, so I'm asking for this, or God, give me whatever it may be. When we shift that, because us focusing on the things that we don't have, I don't care what you say. If you're only focusing on the things that you don't have, it's very hard to be happy if you're sitting here focusing on the things that you don't have. But when you focus on, yo, these are the things that I'm appreciative of. And I'm also appreciative of that I just prayed to God, or that that I expect this to happen over the next month, that I expect this to happen over the next year. I'm grateful for the things that haven't even occurred, but I know that they're on their way. So I'm appreciative of the fact that they're coming. So gratitude is definitely something that has come up a lot, especially over the last couple months. And it's almost like a superpower that we're not really aware of, or maybe just not sure how to use it. But shoot, when we talk about all the things that we're grateful for, why would the energy in the universe that's already trying to that the energy is the universe is trying to give us the things that we obsess over, the things that we are emotional about. It's trying to align us with certain things. So when we focus on the things that we don't have, the lack, it's going to align us with more of that compared to if we focus on the things that we're grateful for, then yeah, give me more of that. Align me with those things. So yeah, yeah. Mama Lay said, we aren't taught the power of thoughts deliberately in order to control. It's all by design, yet we are finally waking up. I agree 100%. Finally waking up. And real quickly, before we get into the video, you know what? A lot of times it may not even feel natural. It may not feel natural. And uh, I noticed with myself, like I was getting ready to write a text message yesterday and responding to a friend of mine. And I knew what I wanted to say, but it was a battle between what I want to say and how I want to say it compared to getting the results that I'm looking to get. And yeah, and a lot of times when we go away from, well, this is how I want to say it, I'm a direct person, this is how I'm going to say it. When we steer away from that, it's almost like we're steering a car without power steering. Where it's like, yo, this it seems a lot easier to just say it how I was gonna say it. Like all this thinking and stuff, like sometimes we got to lean into that hard turn because we don't have power steering, and the more we do it, then the more we'll be accustomed to it and recreate what is normal to us. Because just because something feels comfortable, a lot of that's dictated by what's normal to us, what we're accustomed to. But if we're looking around at this world and looking at it from a global standpoint, just it's like I don't want to become accustomed to what society currently is. I don't ever want to accept what society is right now as the norm. And as soon as we start doing those things, that's when we accept all this lesser of two evil stuff and everything else like that. So yeah, I'm with y'all. I'm with y'all. All right, let's get to the video. Let's get to the video. 100%. Yes, yes, yes. I agree. All right. Stop talking, bro. Just get to the video. All right, here we go. And we're not gonna watch. This is a long video. We're not gonna watch everything, but I do feel that it'll give us a lot of talking points, um, a lot of things to pull from in order to help our own lives. So here we go.
All right, guys. So, like a lot of people, I thought reality was judging me, punishing me, sometimes rewarding me for years. But the truth is that reality was not doing that to me. Reality was not testing me. Reality is not testing you, it is reflecting you. It is a feedback loop of consciousness. In other words, what you believe becomes real. If you believe money is scarce, you're going to experience financial insecurity 100% of the time, guaranteed.
If you believe money is scarce,
you're going to experience financial insecurity 100%.
I just want to put that on the screen. If you believe money is scarce, you're going to experience financial insecurity. All right. I live between Jersey and Miami. Let's just focus on New Jersey, especially North Jersey. Living in Jersey, I don't know how you would think that money isn't scarce unless you're aware of these things that we're aware of, right? I'm just taking like a normal person. If somebody if was just dropped into North Jersey in this society, it would be very hard for me to think that they would think that money isn't scarce. Now, what I mean by scarce is that, and maybe matter of fact, actually, that's wrong. If they were just dropped into this world, then into North Jersey, they'd probably be looking around at all the homes. It's a pretty place. I like it. It looks like a lot of money actually in a lot of different areas. However, living here, I think it would be very hard to live here and not feel like the cost of living is going up. Based on how do we afford a home? Based on the amount of you got to make $300,000 damn near to be feeling like you can afford a home, to save up the down payment, all these different, to pay off your college loans, to handle all these expenses, to have a nice quality of life. It feels like money is scarce. That's why this new generation, we were talking about it yesterday at the dinner table. You got a lot of the young boys moving their girlfriends in home and not even caring about it. Why? Because money is scarce. There's a lot of financial insecurity that has been created this way. But This has always been the plan. This has always been the plan. You go to college, you go into debt. Now you're forced to do these things where you don't have time to say, you know what? What do I really want to do with my life? What feels purposeful? No. You have to get a job to start paying off these things that you took loans out for. The credit cards, what do they get us in? Oh, we're going to make it. You can enjoy a little bit of life now, but you got to pay it back. And because we're all, the credit cards actually function just like society. You're going to work 5 days, right? You're going to enjoy 2 days, but then it's going to take you 5 days to pay it back because we need those other 3 days that's covering the interest. Think about it from that standpoint. You're going to enjoy life for 2 days, but then work 5 days. That doesn't seem like an equal. Yeah, that's the interest that comes along with it. So the credit card companies, we're going to loan you $10,000. But by the time you pay this off, it's going to be a lot more than $10,000 because, hey, at least you can enjoy life now. And the more unenjoyable life is, people are going to be willing to take those risks to simply enjoy the moment and deal with whatever comes afterwards. So it seems like society is always trying to make us scarce. The people that run society, it doesn't seem like they're trying to put us in a position to think in abundance, to feel like we have money in abundance, because that doesn't give them the power that they need to control us in order to do the jobs that we're doing, in order to feel the way that we're feeling. That's going to make us more controlled, easily manipulated, all these different things. It's almost like the psychological aspects of sales and how we can control people and get them to buy certain things. But let me keep going.
Of the time, guaranteed. Joe Dispenza says it really well. He says your personality becomes your personal reality. So life is reflecting back to you.
Your personality becomes your personal reality. I like that. And I had another one for y'all. Your personality becomes your reality. I didn't say this earlier, but I thought about it. Our addictions are becoming our prescriptions. And now, what do I mean by that? When you prescribe something, when a doctor prescribes something, a doctor is trying to shape how something is going to become. This medicine we're prescribing you in order to get this result. The things that we're addicted to, consuming all this negative energy, those are creating the world that we're living in, creating our reality. So, let's keep going.
What it is that you believe. Reality is a mirror. And that means the moment that you don't like what you see, you have a responsibility. You have an ability to respond. And you respond by changing something inside of you. That mirror just handed you the keys. Now, if you follow this show, you've probably heard me talk about this before. It's called the mirror principle. And I want to take this deeper than I've ever taken it before on the show. And before we get into the 3 mirrors, I need you to understand the bigger frame here. A lot of people, physicists, mystics, ancient wisdom traditions, they all describe reality in a similar way. They describe it as a holographic experience. It's a projection. It's like a video game. It's not random. It's not chaos, but it is a perfectly orchestrated reality, which is projecting externally what you believe internally, and it's played back to you in 3-dimensional form. Now, the good news is you are not a helpless bystander. You are the director behind the camera of the projection.
You are the director behind the camera of the projection. If we embrace it, then we can use it to create a better life. If we don't embrace it, then we're always going to make excuses and look externally for reasons as to why we're not making the money that we want to make, gaining the relationships that we want to gain, accomplishing the goals that we're setting out to accomplish. It's simply on us. But when we accept that, like, that should be a positive. Imagine figuring out that we possess the key to whatever it is that we desire. Some people will look at that and say, like, oh my God, like, this is all on me. We've become so accustomed to relying on everybody else, relying on society, relying on this, relying on this. This is where social programs cripple people. Does anybody think that when it comes to social programs that if you give people things for free and you create this sense of entitlement to people with social programs, that's going to inspire them to go out and create a better life on their own. No, it's going to cripple them. It's going to put them in the same position or a worse position, maybe for the next generation, and they're adopting the same way of looking at life. If we accept the accountability and understanding that everything that we desire is in our control and solely in our control, even if that wasn't the case, let's say even if it's not, well, it's not actually all in my control. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Even if I need to be delusional and it's going to put me in a better position, then I'm choosing delusion.
Not a helpless bystander. You are the
And if it is going to put me in a better position, then is it really delusion?
director behind the camera of the projection. Now, most people, myself included, spend most of their lives trying to fix the projection. It's like walking up to the screen and trying to change the scene because we don't like it. But the truth is that nothing actually changes. Yeah, we may temporarily solve a financial problem, but then we're in financial insecurity again. Solve our health challenge, or we're in a health problem again. Solve some other issue that shows up in our life, but we end up playing life whack-a-mole because you cannot fix a projection by trying to change the screen.
I agree with you, Rex. When given thoughts of gratitude, it is impossible to have negative ones. Michelle, I saw what you wrote. I have a metabolic disorder. I want to look that up real quick before I comment on it. Metabolic disorder. So I know exactly. So a metabolic disorder occurs when abnormal chemical reactions in the body disrupt the process of converting food into energy. This can cause a dangerous excess of some substances or critical lack of others. While some types are inherited genetic conditions, others are acquired through disease or lifestyle factors. All right. I just want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. So I have a metabolic disorder. If I don't take my medicine, my frequency will drop no matter what good thoughts I try to have. I see my rhetoric and see my own frequency. I'm not trying to change your mind on that, but I do want to share something with you. This study that I looked up like maybe a long time ago. Looked at a video, and then I forget exactly what it's based on, but it was, and I may have mentioned it before, but it was they had 100 children. They had 100 children or 200 children. 100 of them, they were malnourished, but they still received love and affection. 100 malnourished babies, but still received love and affection. And I don't know the exact age. Then they had another 100 that they gave proper nutrition to, but they didn't have any love and affection. At the end of the study, who do we think were the healthier babies? It were the ones that were malnourished, but received love and affection. Now, like I said, to each their own. I don't know. I'm just sharing the study with you. You take from it what makes sense. But the love and affection, to me, that directly impacts our emotions, how we feel about ourselves, our thought process. So in that case, our thoughts, the baby's thoughts, how their emotions, maybe I should say, were impacting their health more than even the food that they were eating, the nourishment. So I understand, and I get that it may not be the easiest thing, and I know you said that you were born that way. Um, yeah. So yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. But let me ask you this. Let me also ask you this. Because when I hear chemical imbalance, I really never knew what that means. Like I have had certain friends or struggle with schizophrenia, and it's like they say like, oh, it's a chemical imbalance. I was like, I don't even know what that means. Like what chemicals? Like the chemicals that are in our body, like which ones? Like what imbalance? And it seems like, and I'm not talking about with you at all, but it seems like when I typically hear chemical imbalance, it's like I don't even think that the people who mention it even know what that means. I know I don't know what it means, and I've used it before, but I don't know what it means. So if you believe If you believe that it's something that you're born with, if you believe that it's nothing that can be impacted by the way that your thoughts are, if you believe it, I get it. But based on a lot of the other studies, and maybe this just doesn't apply to the condition that you're specifically talking about, but how many studies have we seen when it comes to placebos, where people think that they're getting medicine, they actually believe it, and they believe that they're getting healthier based on the medicine that they're receiving, but then they find out that they were just getting like some salt tablets or something, saline, that's what they were. So I, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. So I just wanted to share that with you because I don't know if that's specifically related to you, and I totally understand that it may not be. But for everybody else, that is something that I believe that we can shift. I believe that we can change. I believe in miracles. I believe in miracles. I believe in what we call miracles. I believe in a lot of these things. And I think that even some people on here that I've talked to on the show have had those similar experiences where, a doctor will say, nope, this is what you have. This is what it is. And they've shifted their mindsets to say, nope, nah, don't believe that. I'm good. And it healed them. So I just wanted to bring that up. I understand that it may not be exactly your situation, but just wanted to share that. Let's keep going.
You have to change what's coming out of the projector itself. And so I want you to write this down. You control what's being projected by paying attention to what's being reflected. Inside this projection, there are 3 universal mirrors. Every single one of us has these mirrors. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, employed or unemployed, you got a business or you don't, married or single, famous or unknown. There are 3 consistent feedback systems that your consciousness is trying to inform you of so that you can actually achieve your full potential. They're with you every single day of your life. And once you learn how to read these 3 mirrors, you don't just change one area of your life, you actually become a master of your own reality. Now, before we get into these 3 mirrors, it's important to understand that your thoughts are not just thoughts. It's important to understand, as Napoleon Hill said, your thoughts are things. They are vibrations, they are electromagnetic, and they're also neurological.
I'm struggling, Michelle. I'm struggling. I'm struggling with what you're saying. And it is my ignorance. I'm being honest. It is my ignorance. Uh hmm. I understand that. Can I you know what? I've never asked myself, and maybe this is a good time to think about it, whether or not I believe that anything can't be healed. I don't know if I've ever believed that there's anything that can't be healed. I'm trying to think of something right now that I would think of that can't be healed. And I'm not yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Just yeah.
So you've been built with this human being operating system with a nervous system that is an electrical conduit system. You resonate at a frequency or a vibration, which is your habit of thought and habit of emotion. And when you were a kid, you had experiences and you started to build memories of your life. It's really interesting when you're born with 100 billion neurons and about 25 billion synaptic connections. So a lot of your brain wasn't wired, but by the time you're 7 years old, you still have 100 billion neurons and you have over a quadrillion synaptic connections. What happened? Well, life happened. And in every single moment, you're ingesting through your 5 senses the information of your reality and you're compiling it in a database, which is what a memory is.
I gotta say, so Michelle, so let me ask you this because you said that you were born this way and that it can't be healed and that you've accepted it. Who told you that? Who told you that? I'm just wondering because a lot of times, I mean, there's been plenty of instances in our life where we're told that something can't happen and it happens, right? I'm sure that we've all had occurrences in our lives where it was accepted that this can't happen, but then it happens. So it's very hard for me to, especially somebody that I care about in you, Michelle, like the fact that you said that you've accepted it. Have you ever not accepted it? I'm just wondering. And see, this is what bothers me so much. If doctors are telling you, doctors, doctors are not God. Doctors teach based on what they're taught. So think about all the things that we teach. Think it's no different than, let's say, a parent who teaches their kids, go to college, get a good education, and you'll be able to settle down, have a nice home, and have a great life. It worked for me. That parent, I believe, has amazing intentions and believe based on their own experience and what life has taught them that that is a fact. That may very well be a fact, but it's only a fact until society changes, right? And then it's no longer true. So they're just basing it on what their life experience has taught them. They're not wrong for that, but they're basing it on their life experience. Doctors, Michelle, when you to become a doctor, you realize that you don't even have to study nutrition. Doctors don't even have to study nutrition. Think about it from that standpoint. You can become a doctor and not have to study nutrition, which probably impacts us more than anything, right? And the one thing that we said impacts us more than nutrition when we were considering the example with the malnutrition babies are how we think about ourselves. Now, do we think that doctors are going to school and being taught, hey, actually to heal your patients, one of the things that you can do is tap into their emotions, impact them spiritually, understand what is their thought process, what do they actually believe? There's that component. Or do you think doctors are just learning, no, when they do this, you give them that? Doctors, to me, are the worst people to listen to when it comes to certain aspects of understanding how we can heal ourselves, because it's direct competition to them. If we change the way that we think and understand our power to heal ourselves, do we think that that would be good for doctors' business or bad for doctors' business? So now when we answer that question, as I believe that I can assume how everybody answered it, if when you answer that question, do we just think that doctors have higher morals and just greater principles and values than anybody else, to where they would say, you know what, even though this is bad for business and this takes money out of my pocket, this is the right thing to do and we're going to lean into that? The majority of people ain't doing that. So when doctors convince us that we have to have certain aspects, or we have to accept certain aspects of what they'll call reality or whatever else, I just question it. And I'm not saying that I'm 100% convinced that we can heal and everything, but I just don't know of anything off the top of my mind where I would confidently think that I couldn't heal. Now, if somebody, I know, hold on, Mama Lay just said, if somebody chops off your, or this is what I thought about when she wrote, what about physical disabilities? Is it a disability or something, let's say, in like, if somebody cuts off your foot, do I think we can regenerate a foot? If you ask me, I'd say no. But what's wild is a lot of other animals do it that are less than us. You cut off a lot of animals' tails and they grow it right back. Now, if I was going off the deep end, I would say, well, perhaps because we don't believe that it'll grow back, that's why. Well, I'm not saying all that, but that is an actual fact when it comes to other animals. So let me and I saw something. Hold on. Big Bro Finn said at 9 months old, Liberty was blind due to her brain tumor. We were told she would be blind for life. Needless to say, they were wrong. Like, if I think that this is reflected in so many other areas of our lives. Just think about the things that we vote for in politics, what controls us. We accept politics as a necessary evil. We just accept it. We accept it. Yo, we accept it. And once we accept it, we make sense of the rest of the world based on those things we accept. I was going to say exceptions, but exceptions would be obviously different. Yeah, just so y'all can go into my brain the way that it works. But yeah, I just I, so let me ask you this, Michelle. My body parts did not form correctly because I didn't have the proper nutrients. I'm assuming that that's what the doctor told you. And I'm assuming that you accepted that. And I'm assuming that you also accepted that when the doctor said that this can't be fixed in your mind, that's yeah. So I guess for some people, I guess it's different for everybody. You know, we saw the example with Finn. Like I said, I think other people have had shared other examples. Um, but when you say even so, Mama Lay, let me ask you this: wouldn't a physical disability be like? Would that be considered like cancer? Isn't cancer physical? Just because internal, it's still physical, right? Like if something's growing in us, something cancerous is growing in us, that's physical, right? And how many examples have we heard of people, healing themselves from cancer, whether it's changing the way that they eat, changing the way that they think? So I don't, I don't know enough about it, obviously, to speak on it. But I just choose to believe. This can be the most ignorant, naive take. I just choose to believe that my thoughts can literally heal me. I just think that. Now, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, Michelle, I haven't okay. Okay. No, definitely appreciate you sharing that. So let me ask you that. So when you had one of your breasts cut off at 12 years old, now there's a particular way. So my question would be is once they cut it off, if we accept that we're messed up for the rest of our life based on us having this compared to me meditating every day and expecting and knowing that my body's going to heal itself. I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. I mean, let me put it this way. Michelle, you are would you consider yourself Christian? Because going to give you an example. We believe that Jesus was born a virgin birth, right? The majority of Christians around the world believe that Jesus was born from a virgin birth, believe that Jesus walked on water. If we believe that that type of miracle can happen, with Jesus being born of a virgin birth, never having sex, Mary never had sex, then I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. But no, and I'm not moving on from the conversation, Michelle. Um, but I just don't want to make you uncomfortable, or I don't want to do too much. I don't want to do too much. Um, it is true. It sends signals to the brain. I know once I got mine under control, I snapped out of the fog. I just, yeah, yo, are we not godly beings? Are we not godly beings? Are we not energy in a universe that's built on energy? So I just think if we accept certain things, then based on even the things that we're hearing in this video. Our reality is going to dictate our thoughts and project our thoughts outward. Um, so yeah, yeah, yeah. Lymphatic system is a major issue with me, so I constantly keep an eye on it. Um, yeah, yeah. Let's keep going a little bit. I'm gonna make sure that I'm keep paying attention to the comments, but I know y'all are holding it down in the comments as well.
But in those memories, you not only stored what you saw, what you smelled, what you tasted, what you touched, what you heard, but you stored the meaning that you gave the experience. And what happened over time was each time you had a new experience, your brain looked into the database of itself and said, what was the meaning we gave this type of experience last time? And it applied the same meaning. So you literally looked for evidence to support the meaning that you gave the experience the first time around, and you ignored any potential observation that was not in alignment with the experience you had before. So, for example, if you were attacked by a dog, it doesn't matter if the next time it was a friendly dog. You literally interpreted the movements, the sound, the barking, the positioning, the posture of the dog as dangerous because that's what you looked for. You literally looked for repetition of that experience. And so you found the same meaning over and over and over again. So if you were taught that children were to be seen and not heard, you started looking for more and more examples of why you weren't worthy of being heard. If you had
All right, so obviously I'm still stuck on, our combo. Let me put this to the side for a sec. I'm with you, Rex. After 2020, if you still believe doctors have our best interests in mind, you're asleep at the wheel. I'm with you 100%. Damn, I had a question that I wanted to bring up, and now it escaped me. Um, it escaped me. It's just very hard for me to believe. Yeah. Let me keep going with the video. I had a point that I wanted to make, and that's what happens when I'm juggling, trying to pay attention to the video, but also, I want to make sure that because I'm more interested in the conversation with you, Michelle, just because I think that we have godly powers, and I think that in most ways they're limited based on the reality that we accept, and we accept reality based on the influences of people that benefit when we accept a limited reality of ourselves compared to an empowered version of ourselves. So for me, that it's just very difficult to accept certain things. And shout out to Abuhan in the building. What's up, Abuhan? Um, yeah, let me try to screen up a little bit. Yeah, yeah. I'll keep going with the video. I'm sure it'll come back to me. It'll come back to me.
watched your parents work really, really hard to make money, you started paying attention to how money was hard to make. It doesn't mean that that was absolute in your reality. It just means that that's the dimension of reality that you paid attention to. And so as you did that over and over again, you built a pathway in your brain. And this became your go-to way of thinking, feeling, and acting.
I remembered it. I remembered it. Do y'all believe in evolution? Do y'all believe in the theory of evolution, where we evolve based on like where they'll always I just always remember seeing, let me bring up the photo. Popular photo representing evolution. Y'all know when it comes the monkeys turning into man. Y'all know the same. Let me bring it up. Let me bring up a good one. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It's a little bit of a wide photo, but we'll work with it. Yeah, I thought I heard a bug. Oh, yeah, I don't like these bugs. All right, so do y'all believe in this right here? So if we believe in evolution, and I saw a couple people saying we believe in evolution, if we believe that we started here, and even if you don't believe in this exact example of evolution, but if you believe that we evolve over time, do we think that that evolution is only based on I mean, look, even when you think about like a tail or certain things, like we have a tailbone. Let's say if we had tails. I don't know if any of these show us with tails, but if you believe that we evolved, we used to walk on all fours, now we walk on 2 feet. What is that based on? Like, do y'all think that evolution is just based on, well, if you don't use it, you lose it? Or is that adjusting to something energetically? What else would evolution be? So if we believe that evolution can occur, and obviously it's not a direct correlation or it's not the same thing, but if we believe in evolution, if we believe that if we question maybe why we have tailbones, but I'm just, if we believe that we can change just based on, I believe evolution, which a large part of that is based on thought, how we're seeing the world, what we're doing with our body. If we believe in all these things, then I just don't think, like, how can, yeah, yeah, yeah. So different thoughts, um, different thoughts. Yeah, yeah. Is us healing ourselves just another way of looking at evolution, us evolving? But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit. Sometimes I'm reaching, but let's keep going.
Acting. And if you look at the results that you produce in your life, they are a byproduct of how you habitually think and how you habitually feel and how you habitually act. So it would just make sense that you would find results that are in alignment with what you believed about the situation, because your brain is a goal achieving machine. So the results you produced in your reality, they reflect back to you the same thoughts and the same emotions that created them in the first place. I want you to get this. The results that you produce in reality always reflect back to you your core thoughts and beliefs, because it's your thoughts and your beliefs that determine action, and action produces results. So we can always trace it back to your core belief systems. This isn't mystical. It's neurological.
If it is neurological, let me ask y'all this other question. Isn't our current society a perfect example of this? When we ask the question, and we've asked this question before, like, yo, is it possible to have peace? Is it possible to achieve the greater peace where everybody's living in harmony? And we've even had certain people say that it's human nature, right? Think about what we describe as human nature. We say that it's human nature to want to compete, to eventually kill each other. And, this is how we've been operating since the beginning of time, all these things. Is it nature or just what we've become accustomed to? And is nature really just that our reality is shaped by our thoughts? Is that nature? And then we just had certain just terrible thoughts shape our reality? When we look at the world today, right now, we accept that, look, there's always going to be wars, there's always going to be this, there's always going to be that. That's based on how we currently think. Now, if we were to shift our mindsets, we probably have a different perception of what the norm is. So, how we view the norm largely dictates whatever our reality is going to be. It's going to shape how we see the world, what's normal, what's accepted. And that can change. So yeah, yeah. Um, Let me see. Abuhan said, I read a book on primi- pr- primitivism. Is that how you pronounce that? Primitivism. I read a book on primitivism. And they were talking about how modern medicine is only necessary for curing problems created by modern societies. Our ancestors didn't get all these illnesses. Yes, we just live in a reality that has been shaped for us, but because it's been shaped so long ago, or it's now shaped in a way where we don't even look at it as forced. It's just occurring naturally. We just accept it as the norm. That's where I'm seeing it. That's where I'm seeing it. But let's keep going. Shout out to Samira in the building. Um, let me and going back to the chemical imbalance part, would we consider like part of like a chemical imbalance to be like blood pressure? Like if your blood pressure is too high? Because I'll give you an example, and I've talked about this to my mom, where when you go to the doctor and you take your test for blood pressure, and doctors are well aware of this, that because you're anxious, because you're stressed, because you're taking any test and you're fearful of the results, and we talked about this the other day, matter of fact, that your numbers will go up. So that's a perfect example of our emotions, our thoughts impacting our chemical balance. If you telling me that just being around a certain person or just getting ready to take a test can make me more anxious, isn't that a part of my chemical imbalance? If it can make my blood pressure go up, isn't that a part of how we would look at that? So I don't know. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Right? Now, there's a mystical part to it. There's a vibrational part to it. But because that neurology is vibrational, right? So your nervous system is vibrational, but just on a practical level, what you believe determines how you think and how you feel, which determines how you act, which determines the results that you produce. So we always know what you're thinking and feeling because we can look at the results. But at the same time, because this is an electromagnetic phenomenon that is occurring inside of you, you're broadcasting. You're broadcasting to the world of frequency that calls forth coincidences and people and circumstances that also reflect this vibration, which again has a correlate, which is thoughts and emotions. So you start lining up situations and circumstances. Someone you run into treats you poorly because you believe you're not worthy of being treated well, right? This is the mirror. So all of this is plugged into what I would call a super intelligence. It's an omniscient mirror, right? Reality or higher power or God or Jesus or Allah or however you relate to it, this system of intelligence that surrounds us every single day. And it's picking up on our frequency and it's rendering it back in physical form. This is how we're creating our reality. This is why two people can walk into the exact same situation and have completely different experiences because they have different frequencies and therefore reality will be a mirror to them differently. So the mirror in front of you right now, meaning your life, is not a coincidence. It's a perfect match based on your vibration and based on your habit of thought, emotion, and action. What you're experiencing right now in your life is the sum total of what you've been thinking and feeling up until now.
Who believes that? That's a lot to hold on to. That's a lot to accept. And probably the older that we get of seeing things the opposite way, that's a very scary thing and potentially depressing thing to accept. What you're experiencing right now in your life is the sum total of what you've been thinking and feeling up until now. The shitty part of all this is that largely what we've experienced, well, not the experience part, but how we think and feel is largely determined by just the things that we consume. Why is everybody stressed now? Why is everybody anxious? Why is everybody pissed off? Well, what are we consuming? If how we think and feel is shaped by what Donald Trump is doing, what Joe Biden is doing, what these other politicians are doing, what the news is reporting on. If everything is based on if that contributes to how we think and feel the most, are we surprised that our lives are miserable? Are we surprised that so many people are dealing with mental health? Are we surprised that so many people are unhealthy? Are we surprised that we're getting more and more like cancer, this and are we surprised by all of these things? But it just seems like we get to a point where it's like to accept certain things, to accept that, hey, how we've been thinking and feeling about life our entire lives has shaped and dictated the position that we're in right now in life. That's a lot of responsibility to accept. And it's also, what did we say about the power steering? It's like I'm so used to doing it that way. I'd almost choose this. I put in my mind, well, it's the evil I know. You don't even know what you don't know is going to be evil. If that's what you know, then how do you know this evil that you don't know? Like, you don't know if that even is going to be evil. We choose evil that we know over whatever else that we don't know because we're more comfortable with it. We've been dealing with the evil that we know for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. I'm accustomed to that. I just don't like change. Change makes me nervous. And me accepting that I'm dictating my reality based on my thoughts and my feelings, that's a big change for me. I don't know. I've never accepted that responsibility for the first 40 years of my life. So now you want me to take on a new responsibility? Nah. That's how most people think.
Hey, it's David. Quick interruption to your.
Shout out to David. He's got his Mind Hack program. We're not gonna go through the entire commercial, but we definitely appreciate you, brother. We definitely appreciate you. All right, let's take a look.
Jump on over to the website. Who've gone through the cast.
Oh, that's very slick. I don't know.
So let me make this. So let me make.
So he did the commercial at the most replayed area. That's smart.
This real. I've told the story about how I met my wife Carol many times, right? But today I want you to look underneath the story. So I had been thinking for many, many years that I was going to be alone for the rest of my life because after I was single for like 3, 4, 5 years and having wanted to meet someone to be in a serious relationship with and that not happening, I started giving a meaning to that experience, which was I was going to be alone for the rest of my life. Now it's interesting because I did watch my parents get divorced and you could interpret my mom's scenario afterwards as being alone for the rest of her life. So I had evidence for that, but I started to understand the mirror principle. And so I made a decision that there were still some good women out there, that I was going to meet my soulmate, that I'd been in the process of kind of perfecting and refining myself. And now I was at a point where, I was in vibrational alignment with meeting the type of person that I wanted to meet. And all of the other women that I had gone out with served a great purpose in helping me get clarity and define who it is that I wanted to be with. I cleaned up my belief system and I realigned my vibration. And so reality needed to reflect that back to me. And
if it's okay with y'all, I'm going to move on to the next video. You can kind of see where this is going. It's a great story. And as I said, this is one of the most replayed parts. But, pretty much we understand that if we want to attract certain things, then we have to obviously make sure that we're giving off the right energy, the right frequency. You attract, what is it saying? More bees with honey and flies with, I don't know the saying. But y'all get what I'm trying to explain. My dad will probably text me the saying now if he's listening. But yeah, if you want to catch something, you got to use the right bait. You got to use the bait that whatever it is that you're trying to catch likes. So therefore, that's just an example of attraction. It's just an example of us attracting the things that we want in life. But I wanted to move on to this Professor Zhang video that I was telling y'all about earlier, because it's when it comes to a lot of the feelings that we have in life right now, we talk about it. People are depressed, people are anxious, people are scared, people are nervous, people are all these emotions right now. And perhaps it's what I don't know if the right way to say it is what we should be, but perhaps it makes a lot of sense based on all the things that we've said as far as the things that we're consuming. So I wanted to take a look at this quick video, not so quick, what Professor Zhang was describing as far as that, hey, we're not anxious by accident, that this is all part of perhaps a bigger plan. So let me share this part with you. I got rid of that. All right, let me share the screen with you, and then we'll get into this video. Shout out to Professor Zhang. We haven't reviewed one of his videos in a while, so it'll be good to check him out. And let's go from there.
Okay, as I will show you, the great innovation of the past 100 years is to convince people that money is God. Money is both nothing and everything, And so you can spend your entire life dedicated to achieving money. Okay? So that's the second great innovation. And the third great technique
Appreciate it,
that's
bro.
changed economics is to understand that if you really want people to focus their energies, you need to create anxiety in them. Okay? Anxiety. And how do you create anxiety? Well, the best way is to create the idea of debt, right? So I'll lend you $1 million today, and you enjoy it, but then you have to spend the rest of the time paying it back. The problem with this, of course, is that there's interest, and so you can never really pay it back, which causes anxiety. And so the idea of debt, I can extract much more value from you than if you were not in debt. Okay? That's the first tool. Second is the idea of inequality and poverty, where a certain class of people are poor, and they'll always be poor. And that encourages the middle class to work even harder. All right? The third mechanism of anxiety is wealth destruction. What is wealth destruction? Simple. War or depression, right? When the economy collapses, when all your wealth vanishes. The idea here is, listen, if the peasants work really hard and they store up a lot of grain, they have a huge granary, they really don't have to work anymore, right? So as a landlord, what do? Well, you go burn down the granary. All right? So war is not just a mechanism to expand capitalism, but it's also a way to make people more anxious because you destroy their wealth and therefore they have to work a lot harder. Okay? So again, in economics class, you may taught that the point of capitalism is to accumulate more capital. No, guys. The point of capitalism is to focus the energies of the peasants. Okay?
To focus the energies of the peasants. And we are the peasants. We were having a conversation last night at the dinner table about how there's like the small 1% of the 1% has more wealth than like everybody else, like combined or something like that. I forget exactly what we were discussing, but this is the same thing. This is what we know. Debt, go to college, get in debt, inequality, poverty. As soon as you now can put somebody in a position where you can either convince them that they're a victim or you can convince them to remain in poverty if they're already in it, like the social programs, or to the point where they just can't afford to live because the cost of living is so much. Now they're in poverty. It said wealth disruption, war, depression, all of these different things. All of it, we know that they're using this, and we know that they're using certain tactics on us, but we're not willing to do what perhaps people were willing to do in the past. People were willing to move to a different location and say, you know what, it's makes more sense for my family to live here, so therefore I'm going to take my entire family and we're going to move to a state. We're going to move to a different state that I've never lived in, but we're moving because it makes more sense. Instead, they've created a situation where we understand and we'll complain about the cost of living in Jersey. We'll complain about taxes. We'll complain about all these things, but we won't even consider moving an hour away. We won't consider moving 2 hours away. Why? Because the evil that we know is always going to be considered better than us taking a risk to do something that we don't know. We are creatures of habit. We like familiarity. We're not willing to do what makes sense based on, I was looking up different places to live yesterday. I came across some YouTube videos and they were talking about how Cambodia, Belize, the Philippines are so welcoming and that you could just go there, stay on a vacation visa, then apply at the end of the year. You don't have to show any income. You could just live there. And one bedroom, nice apartments are like $500 to $700. And I'm like, what are we doing? When I look at some of the homes in North Jersey, and it's like, well, why not just live in Pennsylvania and commute or figure it out, or and why is because, well, if I move, now what do I do about a job? I'm so locked into that job. We did all this work to get a degree. I thought the degree is going to set us free and provide all these different opportunities to us. So if it's going to do that, then we should just be able to quit, go get another job. Maybe if we had a trade instead of going to college, we'd be able to pick up easier and go work somewhere else. I can go become a mechanic over here. I can go become a barber. I can go become an engineer. I can go be a plumber in other areas. But no, they lock us in. Everything is about locking us in, creating a better life so we don't have the feeling that we're living in this slave class when it's really all we're doing. We're just luxury. We just live in a luxurious slave class. That's all it is. And Finn, you're absolutely right. A homestead represents freedom. A homestead represents freedom. Think about the things that we spend so much money on. We'll take a 30-year loan on a home, right? 30-year loan on a home. That's a 30-year agreement, like 30 years. Pay just as much in interest as maybe we're paying for the home. Pay just as much in taxes sometimes as we're paying for the home. What is our next expense that we spend so much money on? The food, right? The food. So doesn't it make sense? Well, if a home that I live in is my biggest expense and the food is the biggest expense, doesn't it make sense now to just be like, well, shit, maybe I should consider moving somewhere where the homes are not as expensive and where maybe I could even grow my own food, grow maybe a small percentage of it and build out from there. But that is so much not a norm for us. It's not our reality, even though this may have been more of the reality. I saw Killer Mike talking about how just like 50 years ago or something like that, maybe less than that, in Atlanta, where he's from, that like over 50% or something like that, and I may have this completely wrong, but there was a large percentage of people that grew their own crops. They had a garden in their homes. That was the norm. Then I don't know whether you believe in, I've seen different videos where it was like, well, grass became a symbol of wealth and then people just wanted grass. People didn't want to go. It's like, isn't this common sense? Okay, food is a great expense. Okay, let's figure out a way to grow our own food. Sounds pretty simple, right? Home is our greatest expense. Home is so expensive that we're going to take 30 years to pay it off. Yeah, maybe we should just move somewhere where we don't have to pay for that. Maybe we should move somewhere where we can get this same house for $800,000 for $150,000. But what I'm saying is that this just goes to show us that our norms outweigh a lot of times our common sense. What we become accustomed to, what we're familiar with, outweighs our common sense in a lot of areas. And we don't like to pivot. It's very dangerous to pivot, we think. It's very hard. It's very risky. It's too risky to plant some tomatoes, to plant some vegetables, to figure out how to do it. And then next thing you know, if you just decrease your food cost just by 10%, wouldn't that be significant where you could just go into your own garden? And then when you add on the fact that all the food that they're giving us is actually causing us all these cancers, it's fake food, it's all these fake chemicals or the antibiotic, whatever they're injecting the chicken with, Why would we do this? Why not just get some land, raise some chickens if you like chicken? Raise you can. How much is a dozen eggs? You go to Trader Joe's and a dozen eggs, if you get the organic pasture raised, it's like $7. And that's at Trader Joe's. You could just have a chicken, hatch some eggs. Look, I'm not saying that I haven't figured it out, obviously, but maybe this is just me speaking it into existence and manifesting it, because it's just certain examples that we just for whatever reason won't do what makes sense. We're not willing to just say, nah, I'm about to move. Just within 100 years ago, when we think about our families probably either uprooted, got rid of everything, maybe were forced to leave. A lot of people I know were forced to leave the South and just said, hey, yeah, we're going up to New York. We're going up to Jersey, and just left. They did, oh, well, I got a job. Well, I got to do it. Makes more sense, so I left. How many people migrated into America to create America? Like, yeah, it probably wasn't easy for them either coming over here. And 100%, this is why when I go see Steve and Professor, it's like, oh, they're actually doing it. They have land. They're living off the land. That's kind of like what you should be working towards, right? We should, everything that the land is providing us, we could just live off the land. But I understand that we're not accustomed to it. And Rex said earlier that I do not trust this guy. We don't need to trust Professor Jang. We don't need to any of that. But just what he's saying, is it making sense? You know what I'm saying? We don't need to trust anybody. We should, matter of fact, it may be better to not trust anybody, because then that forces you to use your own, common sense to see if what they're saying making sense. We shouldn't trust in is looking at somebody like God in a lot of ways. Trusting somebody like, nah, I'm not. I don't know him to trust him. I'm just listening to what he's saying and processing it. But let's keep it going.
Because the attention, the focus, is what makes society much more energetic. And that's the end goal. All right, so if society is wealthy, that's actually a good thing because it makes people lazy and complacent. And so the way to resolve this issue is by constantly engaging in wars and by having the boom-bust cycle that you might learn in economics class, right? So in economics, you might learn that the boom-bust cycle is natural to capitalism. It is not natural to capitalism. It is artificial. The people in charge artificially destroy economies, to destroy wealth, to make the peasants work a lot harder. Okay? So are you guys following along? Okay? So that's the strategy that we've learned these past few centuries. And that's why in today's society, we are the wealthiest society ever in human history, and yet at the same time, we are the most miserable, we are the most anxious, and we are the most in debt, okay? Because
and Rex, I know you probably weren't talking about this part, but I don't need to trust him to hear what he just said and be like, that's a fact. Now, of course, I wasn't around, 2,000 years ago, but in recent times, like, isn't this the most stressful times that y'all have felt? Listen to what he said. We're the wealthiest, but we're the most stressed. We're the most this, we're the most that. Isn't that biblical? Isn't there something in the Bible where it says that it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than a camel to get through the, y'all know what I'm saying. I may not know the exact words, but I got the lesson behind it. Somebody give us the scripture. And now we're the wealthiest that we've ever been. And we're the most miserable, depressed, anxious, fearful, have the most hate in our heart. We can turn on the TV and look at somebody and just feel like a sense of hatred because they're on the opposite side politically. That's what we feel.
Wealthiest society ever in human history, and yet at the same time, we are the most miserable, we are the most anxious, and we are the most in debt, okay? Because the landlord class, the capitalists, the elite, what they figured out are three mechanisms in which to extract as much energy from us as possible. First is to give us the illusion that we have freedom in our lives, we have the freedom of choice, that we have equity in society. We can vote for our leaders. When in reality, it's all just an illusion. Okay? Second is to make money God, the end all and be all. Both
Making money God, the end all and be all. And I wanted to address, I saw Abulan say that there was a guy who used solar panels in gardens to make his house completely self-sufficient. The feds actually arrested him. Look, I believe you. I believe you. Haven't there been reports, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but like having people go missing when they figure out how to like create energy or use water, like they have a water running car, like a car that runs on water or different things. I forget exactly what I saw, but then the guy disappears, right? The guy disappears. We've heard, or they figured out a way to turn trash into gasoline or energy in a way, and these people always seem to disappear. Yeah, you think that the most powerful people who, if we have a solution that completely changes something, that compromises that family, that company's wealth, knowing that they're willing to kill us with the food that they give us, knowing that they're willing to kill us with all these pharmaceutical that they give us, why would they not be willing to kill us if we're taking money out of their pocket? They killing us and we're using their products. Like, what do you think they'll do to us if we're convincing the rest of the world that, hey, you don't need to use their products? So I believe it. I believe it 100%. 100%. As Rex said, I was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and live in PA now. Look, man, I was on Zillow the other day looking at New York, like upstate a little bit, and we've looked at upstate for a while now. But PA, yeah, all these things they were mentioning, like we're looking at Bethlehem, Easton, like just different areas over there, and just talking to Chat GPT. I know I got to switch to Claude. But yeah, it's interesting. And shout out to Big Bro Steve. He came through with the scripture. So Mark 10:25, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. And what have they made money God, right? The lust for money, right, is the root of all. It's come on now. We have the answers to the test, but for whatever reason, we're not necessarily applying it, right? We got all the talent, all the skill, all the information, but we're just not applying ourselves. Let's keep it going.
nothing and when in reality, it's all just an illusion. Okay? Second is to make money God, the end all and be all, both nothing and everything, the very focus of your life. And because money is so abstract, you can spend your entire life trying to achieve more and more of it, and yet at the same time, achieve nothing and nothing, okay? So think of like someone like Jack Ma, who has like more money than he can possibly spend, and what does he want? He wants more money, okay? And the third is to create anxiety in society so that people's entire existence is one of stress. And as a result, people are much more focused on work and wealth creation. Okay? And you do that by a constant process of wealth destruction. All right? So, but the problem, of course, is that when you push people too hard, when it becomes so obvious you're exploiting people, then people will eventually revolt against you. So the solution that we figured out is what we can do.
Wanted to stop real quick. I do believe that this, when we talk about waking up, and Mama Lay mentioned earlier, a lot of people are waking up, which I agree with. This is the position that I think we're moving in now. I truly feel that there's an energy where people are revolting against the norm that we've been convinced to believe in. And when people do revolt, I'm sure that they have a bunch of other moves that they'll make. Well, if they start doing this, then we'll do this. If they start doing this, well, we'll just create a war. We'll just start a war. Okay, we need to bring in a guy that's going to be a little bit more, create a lot more division. So if we create more division with this candidate against that candidate, then we can get people to focus on this. We can get people to focus on that. It's all just a play. They just want our attention. They understand that if they get our attention, then they can move us in whatever way that they want us to move in. That's it. I was having the conversation about movies and how they show a lot of like the future that's some type of law or something. I don't know whether it's with the reptilians or whoever else, where they have to show us the evil that they're going to eventually do. And my question is, are they showing us, like through all these movies, are they like showing us what's going to happen in the future, or are they prescribing what's going to happen in the future? Because if they get a whole bunch of people to see certain things and to believe in certain things and to see that as the future, then ultimately that can become the future. So I always question, like, oh, yeah, are they predicting this or are they creating this? Are they brainwashing us to create this reality that they're depicting for us? Or are they just predicting what they know is going to already happen? It doesn't matter. Either way, they're in control. Or they're using their control to control us. They're using their leverage to control us. They are not in control, but they've created a reality to where we feel like they're in control.
Against you. So the solution that we figured out is what we can do is we can actually move, okay? The landlord class can actually move somewhere else. And so when the anxiety becomes overwhelming, what will happen is the peasants will destroy each other, and the landlord moves somewhere else to the capital, and they'll come back when the peasant class have completely exhausted themselves, and they're willing to rebuild society, okay? And this process is what rules the world today. It is what we call transnational capital. In other words, the wealthy people of the world, they have absolutely no loyalty to nation or to people or to place. They only have loyalty to their capital. And they're willing to move to wherever they can, wherever they have to, in order to keep their capital safe and to grow it.
They're willing to do more to control us than we are willing to do to free ourselves from their control. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. They're willing to do more to control us, to enslave our minds, whatever description we want to use. They're hustling harder. They're more committed to manipulating us than we are to not being manipulated. That's it.
And that's why a lot of people today are moving to Dubai or Hong Kong or Singapore. They don't care. They may not be of that place, but they'll go wherever they need to in order to pay less taxes, in order to avoid the social conflict created by their policies, okay, in order to find better investment opportunities. And this system is what rules the world today. But then the question is, okay, in concrete terms, what really is transnational capital? What allows transnational capital to function, to be able to move from place to place? Because
very quickly, I agree with you, Abuhan. I think I agree with you because, and let me explain how I'm seeing it. But Abuhan said, I'm suspicious of how much censorship has been lifted. I think they're priming us for a false prophet leader, a revolutionary to shift into the new world order. Yeah, I think that's what they've constantly done, where they'll understand and take a pulse on, okay, we're starting to push them. They're getting ready to turn. Hey, they're getting ready to turn. Okay, so when they do turn, let's make sure that we're already breeding somebody. We're already schooling somebody, priming somebody for when they need somebody to turn to, they're going to turn to this person. But we'll control them too, because we have all the resources, we have all the power, we have all the leverage. This is no different than AIPAC spending millions of dollars to unseat Thomas Massey. What's the difference? Oh, you guys are ready for a leader like that? All right, don't worry about it. We'll put whatever money in play in order to give y'all another option that you'll accept, but we'll just control that person. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you were in power, Like, this is how politics works. This is how, evil people control people. It's like, oh, okay, they'll no longer listen to me. Okay, cool. I don't want to give up my leadership, but let me just align with somebody else. Let me work with that other side to make sure, like, yo, let's us create a deal. We'll make it seem to the people as if we're on the, opposing sides. But in all actuality, this just allows us to just remain in control, whether you got to be the face of the league or you got to be the face of the league. Yo, either way, they're dependent on both of us. We both in control. Then you get somebody powerful enough, whether it's one family or a different group, they're like, yeah, we control both of y'all. We control both of y'all. So it's, hey, we need the country's moving in a direction to where they're rejecting a Republican. All right, yeah, we'll give them this Democrat. Oh, they're now rejecting the Dem. All right, boom, we'll give them that Republican. And independents coming up, somebody who thinks that they're free thinking, you think that you're going to run in this system that we created as an independent and you're going to have any type of success without without running it through us? Nah, we'll give you an offer that you can't refuse. We'll give you an offer that you can't refuse. And if you do refuse it, RFK Jr., perhaps your family doesn't have a good history of going against the grain and living to deal with it. I'm just saying. No, is that too much? It just seems like why do we put do we not put, we can't put anything past these people. What somebody will do to justify, oh, that person's taking food off my table. Oh, that's worthy of me getting rid of them. That's punishment by death. This person is misleading the group of people that I'm in control of. This person now thinks that they could take power over my group. And we see it in various areas. We saw this happen with Malcolm X. Oh, Malcolm X, you think that you could step outside and do something outside of Elijah Muhammad? What did Louis Farrakhan say? That what Malcolm did is something that is worthy of, I don't know if he said these exact words, but punishable by death. And what ended up happening to Malcolm? Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Just remember, when you move from place to place, there are a lot of costs involved. For example, you don't really know anyone there, and so how can you trust the people? Right? And it's the solution that we've developed over the centuries is the idea of secret societies. So what you will learn is that secret societies and transnational capital are essentially the same thing. Okay? And this is the force that rules the world today. All right, so now that I've discussed transnational capital, let's look at secret societies, like where they come from and how they work. Okay, well, secret societies exist because the landlord class and the peasant class are fundamentally different. Therefore, the motivations, the beliefs, the worldview of these two classes must be different. Okay, so the peasants, what do peasants want? They want to live a simple life. They want to make some money. They want to have a family. They want to have some fun. They want to believe in God, okay? And so for the peasant class, we have organized religion, whether it's Islam or Christianity. Okay, Christianity. Jesus, right? Jesus tells you to be a good person. Confucius tells you to be a good person, right? But the landlord class, they're different. They have a responsibility. They have an obligation to control the peasant class and extract as much energy as possible in order to maintain their society. Okay? So their religious practices must be very different. So whereas the peasants can pray to God, the landlord class must fundamentally pray to Satan. Okay? So now let's look at why the landlord class must pray to Satan. And this is true for all societies, throughout human history. Before, the Learner class was blatant about it, okay? Now they have to be more hypocritical, more secretive about it. All right, so let's look at the Learner class.
Careful, Professor Jang. So he said that Christianity and Islam is for the peasant class, and that the landlords have to pray to Satan. I'm just let's continue. Nah. You got to connect the dots, Professor Zhang. Don't be trying to just throw stuff out there and having us try to connect these dots. If you're trying to say something, then just say it.
All right. So to be a Learner class, to be the lead, you have to do terrible things. But it's actually hard to do terrible things. All right. So let me give you an example. Let's just say I would say to you, all right, I'm going to give you 10 million US dollars. But what you need to do is this. What you need to do is take a gun and late at night, go kill a random stranger. You think, wow, that's a really good deal. If I kill a random stranger late at night, no one's going to know I did it, and I walk away with $10 million. And you think that I can do it, but guess what? When I actually make you go do it, you actually can't do it. Because there are lots of restrictions on your behavior. Okay, so think of suicide. If I gave you $100 million and promised you a path to heaven, would you kill yourself? Probably not. Okay, so suicide, killing yourself, in many ways, it's no different from killing someone else. We can't do it. Okay, but there are actually hacks around this. We figured out ways to make you go kill someone in a way that doesn't make you feel that guilty about it, okay? So to understand why, I will introduce you two social science experiments that they conducted in America at the end of the 20th century, okay? The first is something called the Milgram experiment. And this was done at Yale by a psychologist named Stanley Milgram. And the experiment was very simple. What he would do is he would set up an actor, okay, this is an actor, okay, or what we call Confederate. And the person would be hooked up to an electric chair, right? And there'd be a buzzer which increases the voltage in that electric chair, okay? And there's like a max and there's a min, okay? And Stanley Milgram would be here in his lab coat, and he would invite a participant, okay, who's essentially a student, to come and be an assistant, okay? And the assistant's job was to press the button. And Stanley Milgram wanted to know, first of all, would this volunteer, this assistant, agree to shock another human being, even though he's seen the human being in pain? And second of all, Stanley Milgram wanted to see how much pain the volunteer was willing to inflict. And it turned out that with the idea of authority, okay, people are much more willing to let go of their inhibitions. Because what you're doing is you are removing responsibility from yourself to someone else. I didn't do it, I was ordered to do it. And surprisingly, people are willing to inflict a lot of pain on other people because they are able to remove responsibility for their individual actions, okay? Does that make sense?
Well, when we stop it right there, I mean, is that not what justifies war? Think about what he just said. All these people, like, this is what I've said this over and over. You'll get people that, and I'm not villainizing or anything when it comes to this, because I believe that if I was put in the same situation, then maybe I would have done the same thing. You know, if I was sent to war, let's say if I was in my 20s, maybe up until a few years ago, I would have gone to war. And if I had orders to kill somebody, then I probably would have killed somebody. Even though I believe that that violates my principles. Hold on one second. even though I would have believed that that violated my principles, I think that that violates God's principles. I mean, it says God's commandments, thou shalt not kill. But why, how do you get a country that's founded on Christian values or any other religious values where their religion says war is not right? How do you get that group of people to go kill other people and violate God's commandment for man's orders? Why? Because you're getting an order from somebody else. You're putting yourself in a position where it's easier to just follow somebody else's orders rather than to push back against what now has been designated the norm. So we see this in a lot of different areas of our lives. And it's not for us to think back to certain situations where it's like, oh man, and I'm feeling depressed and anxious about that. More so being optimistic of, okay, now that I'm understanding these things, now that I'm looking at it from a different perspective, how do I move forward in a more positive way from here on out? That's what I believe it's about. So yeah, yeah. Yo, FQ. I love him about 90% of the time, 10%. Yeah. Oh, wait, me or Professor Jang? I thought you was talking about Professor Jang. If you're talking about me, then shoot, I take that as a compliment, man. 90%? Yeah, I'm focusing on the positive. Like, matter of fact, whether you're talking about Professor Jang or not, I'm accepting that. You want to know why? Because it's my mind and I can program my subconscious. So no matter however you answer that, I'm taking it as a 90. Hey, who y'all ain't happy with 90s on test? Shoot, when I got a when I got a 90 on the test, shoot, we celebrating. Nah? All right, there we go. Oh, me? Oh, shoot, he talking about me. All right, I accept that, bro. Yo, that may be the greatest compliment that I've ever received. I love this nigga 90% of the time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think that my terrible takes are a little bit more than 10%, but if you giving me only 10, then I'm going to accept that. I'm going to accept that and move forward from there. Matter of fact, as we get into this breath work that we finish off every show with, I'm just going to focus on 90%. That's what I'm focusing on. And I'm going to focus on the 90% that I'm grateful for rather than the 10%, you know what I'm saying, that is lacking. I want to focus on the 90% because if I focus solely on the 90%, then maybe I can get that 90 to 91 to 92, and eventually, who knows where that can go. So I appreciate it. Now that's love, and I'm dead serious. No, I'm a lot. I don't want to say dead serious. I'm very serious about it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. I'm leaving that up on the screen for when we do our breath work. I'm leaving that up on the screen. So as we finish off every show, and it always feels like an open-ended, like the conversation never has a bow wrapped on it, but that's good because we're going to continue these conversations, these topics. It's really a never-ending conversation, never-ending journey of just growth. So for the breath work, we're not going to do a guided meditation. We're just going to get into, more of similar to the box breathing technique that we've been doing, where we're just going to do a 4-second inhale, focusing on all that positive 90% energy. Then we're going to hold it for 4 seconds. Then we're going to do an exhale for 4 seconds, where maybe in the beginning we're focusing on, matter of fact, I don't even know if we want to focus on getting rid of whatever negative energy. Maybe we're just focusing still on, we've been doing it wrong. We've been doing it wrong. For the exhale, don't focus on getting rid of the negative energy. Don't focus on anything negative. Focus on sending out the positive energy that just got compounded by us inhaling and focusing on that positive energy to build on the energy that we already had inside. And now when we exhale, we're simply projecting that positive energy out to the universe. And now we're just recycling positive energy. All right. So we get A's on test over here. So we get 90s at least. So all right, on that note, let's begin. If you're in a place where you want to close your eyes, feel free to do so. But whatever it is, maybe just take some time to focus on whatever it is that you need to focus on. And let's build on the positive energy from there. So we're going to start with a 4-second inhale. Ready, begin. Hold. Release. Inhale. Hold. Release. Inhale. Hold. Release. One more cycle. Inhale. Hold. Release. Release all that positive energy out to the universe. Man, yo, I'm getting that on a t-shirt. I'm getting that on a t-shirt. I'm for real. I'm for real. Yo, you just like I said, man. So this was birthday season in my family. So my dad's birthday was April 29th. My brother's birthday was May 10th. My birthday was May 19th. Matter of fact, hold on. We missed. Shout out to hold up. Forget all that. Finn was finishing out the May birthday season. I don't know if somebody else has a birthday in May, but happy birthday to our big bro Finn, man. Finn's birthday was Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure y'all show some love to big bro Finn, who's been holding it down. I appreciate all the energy that you bring. That comment that you put on the video the other day. And let me actually read it. If I could find the comment that Finn wrote, because I think it's really intended for everybody. Hold on. And I just happened to see Rex's post. Rex said, "How are you, Rex? I'm back to eating meat, fish, and eggs. I took 6 years off, and I was down in weight because I'll respond in the comment. My fault. But Finn, let me stay focused. So Finn wrote, some of my favorite people on earth are a squad of badass friends online that I've never met in real life, and somehow they think exactly like me. Look, this is the community. This is the energy. I know that I really believe that everybody appreciates this. Hold on, I gotta take this off the screen now just to show the birthday love. But definitely happy birthday to Finn. We appreciate you. Can't wait until we see you in person. It's great to be able to have this community online, but just imagine when we actually link in person. When we're linking in person, we're walking around on grass, enjoying life together, having a couple drinks, just sitting back, enjoying life, being purposeful, going on some hikes, whatever it is. Imagine how amazing that's going to feel and the energy that will be compounded and lift us up. I'm appreciative of you, big bro. So I hope you enjoyed your birthday. And normally birthdays birthdays can be dark for me. Where it's not, I don't even look at it as dark. I think when I describe it, it sounds dark to me. But birthdays, because you're reflecting, it's almost like, yo, you ain't where you said you was gonna be. But this birthday week has just been, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Come here, Ma. Are you camera ready? No? Oh, that's Maya? Let me see. We're not gonna do that. But I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for my family. Grateful for y'all. Grateful for when I say family, I consider y'all as well. But yeah, let's just continue to just show gratitude, appreciation, because this is elevating our frequency. I know it's just making us feel good. It's just making us feel good, and I think it's inspiring us to put more good out into the world. It just inspired Maya to do some laundry. Like that's an amazing thing. Now I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? Like everything is just working perfectly. We are creating the universe that we that we can enjoy, that we can appreciate. So let me stop rambling. Y'all know what we here to do. Elevate frequency on purpose. All right. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Think about when we say get to the bag, what are the things that we're focusing on? What are the things that we're focusing on to create the reality that we want for ourselves, to reach our goals, to be more aligned with the things that we desire in life? What are those things that we focus on? The things that I focus on: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and everything we do, integrity, and making sure that we are aware of perspective, because I think that allows us to communicate effectively with each other and have more of a collaboration mindset rather than just feeding the negative algorithm that sometimes hooks us. So I think we got some wise words from the family. Leave the world a more positive place than you found. Life is simple. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, bro. Shout out to Abuhan for that. Finn said some of my favorite people. Oh, he wrote it. So just so y'all got it on the screen, some of my favorite people on earth are a squad of badass friends online that I've never met in real life, and somehow they think exactly like me. It's just love. It's all love. Shout out to Big Bro Steve. Shout out to Samira. Hold on, I'm trying to catch up with all these last comments. Shout out to Rex. I was told by my staff sergeant, it is not thou shalt not kill, but it is thou shalt not murder. Well, then I would ask your staff sergeant, what makes murdering different than killing? And I would question your staff sergeant and say, to me, that gives off the energy where some people may justify, well, it's okay to kill this group of people. I think we kind of see that with the Palestinians and the Israelis and certain justifications. When we try to justify violating God's commandments, it seems like it's killing compared to murder. However you look at it, yeah, go from there. But I don't want to take life away from anybody. I just want to give positive and give life to people. So whatever we choose to do, I'm not judging. I'm just telling you what the energy that I want to put out. Yeah. We kill and murder enough animals. We don't need to be killing and murdering our people, our brothers and sisters, right? So yeah. See, now I'm about to go back to being not even. No. I'm appreciative of the sacrifices that are made in this universe that allow us to prosper. So maybe whenever we're just showing gratitude. I'm grateful for everything. There we go. Let's move forward from there. I want to make sure I'm keeping my 90% grade. I don't want my bro coming here saying, see, this is that 10% that you be bullshitting on. I can't afford that. I need to go into the weekend appreciative of my 90%. So on that note, I'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a great one. And just being real with Rex, I'm not saying that your staff sergeant, I'm not saying that they're wrong or right. But let's just challenge ourselves to spread more positivity. So regardless of what, anything else. So on that note, I'll see y'all soon. And y'all have an amazing weekend. Ew.